This is another reading of Lord Mayhare. We are on page 3170, just at the bottom. We read this already last time, but it's just a paragraph to give context. For a few minutes, I am going to speak about denying knowledge, which in Sufism is termed marifat, or certainty of becoming. Certainty of becoming. There are three states of conviction: intellectual conviction, conviction through seeing, and conviction through becoming. Few persons have even intellectual conviction. What the Vedantists say about our being one with God, even that is not intellectual conviction. When we hear and read that we are all one, that is just what the intellect grasps temporarily. When this temporary understanding becomes intellectual conviction, then nothing can shake that conviction. Nothing can upset the holder of that conviction. And when one sees actually what one has grasped permanently through intellect, then the conviction becomes more firm. And when one becomes what he sees, then that conviction is of becoming. That is denying. When one becomes united with what one sees, then the conviction is of becoming. This is the third type of conviction. You are a man. Now, this knowledge of manhood needs no intellect, no reasoning, because you are a man. You never think, am I a woman? Am I a dog? No, because you are a man, and this knowledge of being a man needs no intellect. When you become God, you are God, and this becoming is knowledge. A Sadguru can give this denying of becoming in the twinkling of an eye. And if you all think Baba has denying, it must be due to my masters, Babajan and Upasani Maharaj, and most directly to Sai Baba, my grand old man. And if I have that denying which is so rare, then I must see myself in you all, and you all in me. And so, by bowing down to your love, I bow down to God and masters, who are all one in God. At 6:15 p.m., all except the group from Sauner were asked to leave the hall. After speaking with them, Baba left for Merzad. On the morning of Saturday, 8 November 1952, all were served rawa, a sweet dish, with tea. Most of the men finished their bath by 7 a.m. Baba arrived and went straight to the pandal.
You missed the line, Gene.
Oh, sorry. By 7 a.m., most of the men finished their bath by 7 a.m. and were found eagerly awaiting Baba's arrival. Exactly at 7:30 a.m., Baba arrived and went straight to the pandal, which had been erected for the day's session, behind the lower Mehrabad old Dharamshala building. Baba climbed up on the small dais without anyone's help, and everyone gathered round the raised platform. Baba smiled and stated, "Disperse for half an hour. I have some private work with the Mandali, so do not crowd near the dais. Don't be on my chest during this time. I will call you." At 8 a.m., everyone was called back into the pandal. When they had gathered, Baba's fingers began to speak via the alphabet board. Today is a very important day for me and for my work in the fiery life, which begins on November 15. And so I have called today a few selected ones to join me on this day, and I bow down to your love and faith for having responded to my call. Marvin, could you continue, please?
Baba stood up and reverentially, folded his hands to the gathering. Resuming his seat, he continued, I want you all to patiently hear what I have to say, declare, and what I have decided. What I have to say, declare, and what I have decided. Before I make clear my fiery life, I will explain to you the stand of a devotee that I have adopted today. For an ordinary devotee, there exists attachment of every kind. Ignorance being the predominating factor, desires and duality persist. And due to this ignorance, virtue and sin, good and bad, gain meaning. Worries, doubts, upsets, and miseries are the products of this ignorance. Birth and death, which to the Jnani, a knower, are superfluous, have meaning in ignorance. Therefore, for a devotee, good, bad, and all forms of duality exist until Danayan comes. And so today I am taking the stand of an ordinary devotee who seeks forgiveness of God for his mistakes. After this explanation, Baba asked Don to read on his behalf the following statement in English. Translations of it were ready and were read aloud by Dr. Deshmukh in Marathi and Keshav Nigam in Hindi. And the statement. In a few moments, I am going to repent to God and ask his forgiveness for my sins and also for the sins of everyone connected with me. Because I shall include myself in this repentance and prayer, it is important for you to know that I shall, for the time being, take my stand as an ordinary devotee, as one whose devotion and longing for union with God are weakened and corrupted again and again by evil thoughts, evil feelings, evil words, and evil deeds. I know that only God exists, and in the same way, I also know that good and evil are merely aspects or manifestations of God himself. For the ordinary man and even the ordinary devotee, this knowledge of the true nature of good and evil is only the fruit of faith or reason. It is therefore theoretical and not real knowledge, and it does not free him from the law of karma, the law that is based on God's will, the law that pervades throughout eternity. The Jnani, however, because he knows the truth by actual experience, is utterly free from these bindings, and he therefore knows that as the Jnani, he is exempt from the law of karma. Since he knows the nature of good and evil, he also knows that no one is to be blamed for anything he thinks or feels or says or does. And the Jnani knows, too, that the sequels to good and evil, such as heaven and hell, dying and being born and born again, are the results of God's will functioning through karmic law, but also that they exist only because ignorance makes them exist. Thus, the Jnani, who may often intercede with God for his devotees and humanity at large, never repents to God and never asks forgiveness for anything concerning himself. By special dispensation of God also, the very highest type of devotee, whose whole being is permanently focused on the Divine Beloved, is as completely exempt from the law of karma as the Dhyani. Unlike the Dhyani, however, such a devotee is utterly ignorant of this exemption. But the ordinary devotee, no matter how sincere his devotion, remains bound by the law of karma, and so his best course is to apply this law to his own spiritual advantage by the constant practice of virtue and the constant abstention from evil. And when he fails in virtue or falls into sins, he must throw himself on the boundless mercy of God and ask his forgiveness. The repentance prayer for forgiveness will now be uttered from me, for you, and for all who are connected with me. Maybe some of you, or many of you, have no bindings of desires and attachments. But here today, as I am in the state of a devotee, I would like you all to join me and encourage me in asking God's forgiveness. Baba stood up and asked the following persons to repeat aloud the following names of God 7 times each, as they had done before. He also asked the gathering to stand and mentally repeat wholeheartedly with them. Nilu Om Parabrahma Paramatma. Padre Ya Yazdan. Baidul La Ilah Illallah. And Erich, O God, Father in heaven. After invoking God through repetition of his names, Baba asked God to read the prayer of repentance in English. Footnote, the prayer of repentance had been dictated by Baba in Kuldabad exactly a year previously in November 51, but it was first recited aloud this day. As the prayer was being said, Baba lightly slapped his cheeks throughout the recitation, the gesture in India for seeking forgiveness, promising never to repeat the act. When the reading of the prayer in different languages was finished, all sat down. Baba stated, "Before I explain my fiery life, I must say that for a Dhyani and lover, these attachments and forgiveness for attachments do not exist. For a Dhyani, nothing exists but God. To him, everyone is God, everything is God, not merely through intellectual conviction, as I said yesterday, but by actual and continual becoming. He knows through continual and eternal conviction and experiences from the beginningless beginning to the endless end that he is and he alone is. My message to the world, which has been the same throughout eternity, is love. This love has 2 aspects, and both aspects are real. Any other attachment which we, through ignorance, call love is nothing but Maya. Love for God, personal or impersonal, with intense longing for realizing oneness with the beloved, is one aspect of real love. Such a lover forgets everything, forsakes everyone, and annihilates himself in the fire of divine love. In the second aspect, a person loves humanity at large as being part and parcel of God. Here the lover forgets his own interests, forgets his own happiness, and tries to make others happy or uplifted. If this love reaches its height, here also, like the divine lover, the lover of humanity forgets himself completely and is lost in love and love alone. My fiery life, which begins from November 15 and ends at the end of April 1953, is based on this love, by which the lover is lost in the beloved, after being consumed in the fire of divine love. Now, listen very carefully. Don then read the following lines about Baba's fiery life. My fiery life begins on November 15, 1952, In April of 53, the climax of the internal working of that life will be reached. An external demonstration of its entire internal working will be made manifest. In the same month also, the final and real result of the fiery life will, by God's grace, be known to the world. God says, I cause my enemies to flourish and kill my friends. And no one has the right to demand the why and wherefore of it. From untold ages, every lover of God has had to bear unnumbered burdens, face remorseless opposition, and be tormented by humiliations and frustration, by bodily sickness and mental despair, until the final union with the divine beloved. I myself, and also all who are to be with me in the fiery life, must therefore be prepared to stand firm in the face of hardships, difficulties, and every conceivable kind of attack, our only weapons being an unshakable faith in God and complete resignation to His will. All our sufferings will have to be borne in this manner until that final moment when the fiery life shall, by God's grace, emerge victorious. When Don was finished with the reading, Baba stated, now, the important declaration for which I have gathered all of you here is a very few words, and God wants me to declare it. It is all His will and His alone that works throughout eternity. So these few words that I will now declare will have to be borne in mind till the end of April. Declaration. During the last 15 days of April 1953, God will end everything and mend everything, and the present universal mess of doubts, suspicion, hatred, and destruction. And for that, God will have to manifest as never before. And there will be such chaos as never before. God will make me drop this body during that period. And then maybe some of us will meet bodily after 700 years. We need not worry about this body. We always were and will be. That is my knowledge. And you all today, being my gurus, because of your love, I ask your blessings for my fiery life. Ask God, who is present right here now, to give me strength to accomplish the universal work that He has ordained me to do in April. Baba asked Krishnaji to beseech God's blessings that His universal work may be accomplished. Everyone stood. The atmosphere was solemn. In a voice filled with emotion, Krishnaji said in his own words, O God, you are omnipresent. We ask you to give Baba strength in his fiery life to accomplish the universal work that he is ordained to do in April. We wholeheartedly pray to you to shower your choicest blessings on Baba. Krishnaji then surprised everyone, since he was a newcomer, by adding, and I feel Baba is God. After the prayer, everyone sat down. Baba appeared very happy and radiant, and asked Don to read the following message of the fiery life, dictated by him the day before. All these years I have been recognized as a Sadguru and the Avatar. Later, in my new life, I lived the life of an ordinary, humble human being. In the Manonash period, I lived the life of an aspirant in order to achieve complete mental annihilation. During the period of my free life, I have been playing the dual role of strength and weakness, retaining simultaneously the roles of master and devotee. Before plunging into my fiery life, I intend for the first and last time to pay homage to the three masters with whom I have connections, Sai Baba, Upasni Maharaj, and Baba Jan at their respective resting places. I shall then proceed to Bombay and bow down at the feet of musts and saints there, and then plunge into the fiery life wherein I will be a lover of God. After the message was read, Baba looked pleased because he had finished the most important work for which the congregation had been held. With a smile, he stated, "Now relax for 15 minutes, and then there will be bhajan program." When all had reassembled, the singing started. After two well-composed bhajans by the Pune group and one abang, a hymn of Tukaram by Rustam Kaka, two ghazals were sung by Abdur Rahman, Dr. Ghani's brother, one composed by Kak Saheb and the other by Ghani. Baba appreciated the depth of feeling expressed in these ghazals. He commented to the gathering that Ghani's brother Abdur, sailor, also known as Kudo, and Bailey were his childhood chums. Ghani had passed away, and in case Baba would also leave this world, he stated he would be happy that at least three of us will still be left. Baba added, "We all played together. We even quarreled, but the outstanding thing was that they all loved me dearly." Then he asked Sailor, "What do you think of me now?" Sailor's instant reply was, "God personified." The same question was put to Bailey, who answered, "I take Baba as my all in all." Baba's face shone with pleasure, and he joked, "As my early childhood friends think so highly of me, even after so many years, it is enough to make me feel that there must be something extraordinary in me." After the program, Baba wanted to go for lunch. He stated that in the afternoon he would see those whom he had not personally met the previous day. Baba was very preoccupied in his room opposite the hall until 4:40 p.m., discussing many things with different people in connection with his work and the various programs of Mass Darshan. At 4:45, Baba entered the Pandal. He stated he wanted to settle the exact dates of Darshan at different places. All these individuals, program wallahs, in charge of arranging the Mass Darshans at their places, were informed that they must carefully observe the 3 points which had been mentioned and discussed when they were called to Merazad, which were: first, as soon as Baba steps in a place, he will first take darshan of the musts and saints of that place. Second, Baba will bow down to 7 poor persons, and before this he will wash their feet and feed them. Third, at the time of Mass Darshan, first Baba will be bowed down to the masses, and then people can bow down to him, perform his arti, garland him, etc. Baba emphasized, in case the persons in charge of the Mass Darshan programs think that it will be difficult for them to observe these points, they should clearly and openly say so. All these 3 points will have to be observed. Otherwise, it will be absolutely wrong to fix the programs. Better to cancel them. All agreed to abide by Baba's instructions, and the dates of Darshan were rediscussed and finalized. Someone from the north asked, "Will you be giving special messages to the masses?" Baba replied, "Yes, and you can collect these from Adi and print them in the form of a booklet or as leaflets, whatever is convenient for you, for distributing to the public. If you cannot print these messages, don't worry. People will have my darshan, and that is enough. But remember one thing. No one should request an individual interview with me. If I call anyone, that is a different matter. As for any extra explanations or discourses, it all depends on my huki or whim of the moment." A group head from Hemapur asked Baba if he would visit small villages. Baba replied, I will go wherever you take me with love. I will not mind traveling in a bullock cart. With a smile, he reminisced. Once, on one of these musk tours in a remote area, Baidul hired an old cart. The dirt road was bumpy, and the cart driver was a very enthusiastic person. He drove the bullocks in such a way that when we reached the destination and got down, I felt shaken up for 5 minutes. Baba added, I hope you will not hire such a vehicle or driver. Looking at the Andhra group, Baba continued, Dhanapati Rao and Ranga Rao will be in charge of the darshan programs in the West Godavari district. I will even visit the Godavari River if they take me there. Mudaliar Vadivelu asked if Baba would also visit Madras. Baba looked at the old man lovingly and replied, Dear Vadivelu, you have brought with you the whole of Madras, so don't worry about my going there in person. All right, maybe I should give someone else a chance here.
Thanks, Marvin. That was marvelous. Rosalie, can you unmute and continue, please?
When Baba expressed a wish to visit Kolhapur for a day or two, if a mass darshan program could be arranged, one from the Bhajan party sounded out the possibility of his coming to Pune as well. Baba answered, why not? I was born in Pune. Also, I had promised Ghani that I would give darshan in Pune. But at present, the date of the visit is uncertain. Let me discuss this matter with Patil and Gadekar. Wait and see. Baba changed the topic and asked those gathered if they had a good lunch. Turning to Chuggan, he remarked, Ramju is not feeling well. If Nilu's medicine does not cure him by tomorrow, do not prepare wawa for breakfast. Let everyone fast. Baba then began joking. Since the 1920s, the phases of my work and the surrounding atmosphere have changed considerably. But Anna 104 is the same as he was. His habits and his dress seem unchangeable. When Baba Das stood and said something disjointed, Baba remarked, I should not blame Baba Das for being incoherent. There are quite a lot who belong to that tribe, to his tribe. Addressing the program heads, Baba continued, Baidu will arrive at each place one day in advance of my visit to collect information about must and saints. Baidu smells must, and if there are no must, he will create must. By the way, you should also know that although he is an expert at finding must, you should beware if you ask him about anything else. He might even lead you into a ditch. Baba was still wearing the garlands that had been offered to him on his arrival at the Pandal more than an hour ago. Before. He moved his fingers through them and gestured. They are really splendid. I do not feel like removing them, and I also cannot keep them on for too long, as they are weighing on my shoulders. Wearing them is like chewing something that you can neither swallow nor would you like to spit out. People had started talking among themselves under the awning, and Baba remarked, listen, God knows I want eternal rest, but I have to be eternally restless. If you would become quiet for a short while, I will be happy. Everyone fell silent, and Baba finished his instructions. The repetition of God's names was being carried out continuously in the Japti. Baba inquired of those who were given the duty at night, whether they kept wide awake. Savak Patwal was one of them, and Baba directed him, "Keep awake, or both of us will fall into trouble." Someone asked, "Baba, when will you call us here to Mehrabad again?" He replied, "If this body survives after April, I may think of it." He added, smiling, "With the blessings of saints and Nilu's medicines, I will not drop the body. But for this, Chuggan must give Basundi, a sweet dish, to Nilu to keep him hale and hearty." In the end, he reminded the program heads, "So I agreed to visit your hometowns. About 25 persons will accompany me. You do not have to pay for their railway fares, but you will have to provide them with simple boarding and lodging facilities." Again, one more point. The house where I will reside should be in a quiet locality, preferably in a secluded area. When I retire at night, there should be absolute calm and no disturbance of any kind outside the house. The fiery life is quite a different thing. It has nothing to do with these darshan programs. Do not take lightly what I have been saying. This is not merely a divine farce. In the fiery life, if the conditions mentioned are not properly followed, it will put me into trouble. So you must try 100% to observe these 3 points. Those men who had previously asked Baba for permission to leave Mehrabad the next morning were allowed to go, but the rest were to stay the next day until Baba himself left for Mehrabad. The schedule for places to be visited during the November and December 1952 and January 1953 mass darshan programs was decided as follows, with those in charge at each place. 18 to 28 November, Hamirpur, Keshav Nigam, Gaya Prasad Kare, and others. 29 November to 4 December, Delhi, Harjawan Lal, Wasdeo Kain, 5 to 20 December at Mehrabad. 21 to 25 December, Amravati, Dr. Deshmukh. 25 to 31 December, Nagpur, Shariakar, Baba Das to help Pap Hali there and in Sauner. 31 December to 1 January, Sauner. 2 to 17 January at Mehrabad. 18 to 28 January, West Godavari, Dr. Dhanapati Rao and Y. Ranga Rao. On Sunday, 9 November 1952, Baba arrived at Mehrabad in the morning at about 8 and walked straight to his room. Coming into the hall at 10 a.m., he stated, "I had sent forms to a number of people in which it was mentioned about dedicating to me their money, property, service, and life. Many of them have sent back the forms duly filled in, and the list has been prepared. Now, the list will be read out. But what I want to tell you all is this, that you all love me and are ready to do what you can. But I say, if you cannot do anything regarding money, do not worry about it in the least. The love you have for me is what I want. It is what I need for my fiery life. If someone cannot afford to give money, he should not worry at all. Give only what you can conveniently spare. Money and power and the desires attached to them bring about spiritual downfall. So if you cannot afford, don't worry. Even if you have signed yes on your forms, I free you from this commitment if you now feel that it's not possible to give. The list that will be read here now will contain the names of those who have dedicated their money and property, or both. Property I do not want. I want money for my work. So those who have filled in forms may give 10 rupees to Meherji or Nariman. Some have written that they will pay in monthly installments. But from November 15th, 1952 to April end, 1953, I will not accept money. And after April, there will be no need of money. So whatsoever one can spare or afford must be given before the 15th of November. I love you all 100%. And those who think that they cannot give at this moment can send the amount to Adi, but should tell the figure to Meherji so that he may give me the amount before November 15th. And wherever I will be going for mass darshan programs, I have decided to accept money and will hand over the money to the person in charge of that particular place for my work. I can say with authority that I am the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor. This is not just a formal saying or statement. It is the truth. From the day I kept silent until now, I have not touched money, except when giving to the must and the poor. And the Mandali who have been with me and kept account say that during the last 27 years, rupees 80 lakhs, 8 million, have passed through my hands. And now I have not a pi cent. Therefore, money can both be useful and destructive. But for the spiritual aspirants who have no connection with the perfect master, complete renunciation is absolutely necessary. Different masters have different methods. Sai Baba, who was perfection personified, adopted a different method of collecting money. Whosoever entered his darbar was asked to give all the money he had in his pocket. and all this money was distributed the same evening to others, mostly to Bara Baba, who was sitting by his side all day long and who was very, very fat. Sometimes Sai Baba would not allow a person to keep any money in his purse, even for the return railway fare. Those who had faith in him never faltered, never doubted, but those who had no faith could not understand his method. Once Upasni Maharaj, who was there in the temple, and who at that time never ate food or even drank water, was asked by someone why Sai Baba collected money and distributed it the same evening, and why the lion's share went to Bara Baba. Upasni Maharaj replied that Sai Baba collected dirt from all people and accumulated it in the stomach of Bara Baba, who had a very huge belly. He said people did not understand the method and were unnecessarily doubtful about such collection of money by Sai Baba. Footnote. On one occasion, Arish asked about Baba's accepting money, and Baba replied, "Would you ever give shit to the one you love?" You would naturally want to give something nice from a worldly point of view. Money is everything. But to me, it is shit. I accept it from those I love to cleanse them. On another occasion, Baba explained to Arish that the real power of money was in spending it well, not in saving it. Now, during that same period in Pune, Babajan, the spiritual emperor, had quite a different method. Those who have seen this god woman know that she sat under a tree without any shed. She was very old and very beautiful too. But during the whole of winter and summer, all day and night, she kept wide awake. Only from 4 to 5 a.m., she used to lie under the same tree. I had deputed Gustaji to sit by her side all night. He noticed that when anyone came there with the intention of offering money, she would take a burning stick from the fire and run after him. Naturally, the man would run away. This was her rivage method regarding money. So at Shirdi, Sai Baba asked for money, and at the same time, Babajan at Pune used to drive away anyone who came to offer money. Both were perfect, but such was the difference in their method of work. I feel happy today because I had the occasion to remember these three perfect masters who were internally and deeply connected with me and who are now lodged in me. Those who love me should join me in my salutation to these perfect ones. Baba and all the men stood up and reverently bowed down to these three perfect masters. Baba asked Minu Karas to read the list of persons who had dedicated their money or property or both to Baba. Before reading the list, Baba stated, "Yesterday, I had a talk with the Mandali in my retiring room, interview cabin, about accepting money. As per the new life conditions, I do not accept money. So when Harjivan Lal showed his willingness to offer rupees 4,000, I hesitated. Now, I do not like the idea of accepting money, but to make you all feel that you have shared in this giving, even if your name is not on the list, you may give at least 1 rupee as a token of love, so that all may feel that they too have shared. At this point, Baba gave a special hint to the program heads that they should not think of giving any extra contributions. For when Baba visited their places, they would have to spend a lot for him and those with him. Baba,
meetings.
someone's not muted. Please mute. Baba informed Meherji. Now, whenever you like, you can open your office on the veranda. Baba appeared very happy when he finished with this money matter and asked the Pune Bhajan group to sing for half an hour. Sing in such a way that it may make all feel happy and hungry too. For half an hour, all enjoyed hearing fine songs sung before the Divine Beloved. And Baba, too, was in an exceptionally happy and cheerful mood. After this, Baba walked to his room. At noon, Baba gave interviews to many men in connection with his future darshan programs. During the entire time, several persons stood outside waiting to have a private interview with him. Kashav Nigam's brother, Mukundalal, had arrived. He was suffering from leprosy and his body smelled bad. The doctors had no hope of his surviving, and he had come to have Baba's darshan for the last time. Baba saw him, and after his interview, he gave Kumar a banana to give to Mukundial with instructions that he eat the fruit, including the peel, after 40 days, even if it had dried up by then. Why had Baba instructed him to eat it after 40 days? Master psychologist that he was, Baba knew that Mukund would then remember him every day for 40 days, thinking, today there are only 35 more days left to eat Baba's prasad. And miraculously, after some time, Mukund completely recovered.
Thank you, Rosalie. Jai Baba. Eva, Eva, could you unmute and continue? Would you like to? Eva may not be near her machine. Mayor Kiran, are you able to read? Unmute if you can.
No, I cannot read now.
Oh, no problem.
I am near it. Just it's hard on my iPad to unmute. It took me that long.
Wow.
Okay, the fiery free life. Nana Kair's brother Vinu had come to Mehrabad for the first time. On seeing him, Baba remarked to Nana, "What a beautiful soul. Nana, your brother is quite a good man, and I like him very much." Baba walked back to the hall at 3:40 p.m., and all were asked to assemble. The program heads were asked to sit with their groups. Baba began dictating. "My fiery life is not a joke. During this period, I have to work for the whole universe, and I am bent on ending myself or ending this universal mass. Side by side, there will be mass darshan programs. I derive no enjoyment when people come and bow down to me. On the contrary, I enjoy bowing down to you all. The fiery life is quite different from these mass darshan programs. I may even cancel these programs if I find that they interfere with my work in the fiery life. Today in the afternoon, when a number of people stood in a row for individual interviews, I began to feel that such type of disturbance would occur on a large scale at the places where darshan programs are arranged. I know it was all through your love for me. It was all natural. But when today such type of disturbance occurs among those who know the importance of my work, then how can you not expect such things to happen when I come to your place for darshan programs? I want an absolute guarantee of careful organization, and it will be the duty of the program wallas to inform all that no one should ask for a personal interview with me. Although I am eternally bound, I am eternally independent also. The moment I feel that things are not going as I want, I will immediately leave the place. I am going to burn myself for the whole universe, so I do not wish to hear about petty things. But the question is, how can you guarantee for the masses when you cannot manage among yourselves? As I declared yesterday in my declaration, I have already told you that those who are with me in the fiery life will have to face every kind of hardship, mental despair, bodily ailments, attacks, and ridicule. These are all side issues of the fiery life. They will not interfere in my fiery life, but the disturbance that I felt today will surely interfere in my work for the fiery life. Therefore, I warn all the program wallas about this point. No personal interviews will be given, not even individual meetings. I will be coming to your places. Take me wherever you like. Let thousands of people come and take darshan. Let them perform bhajan, kirtan arti. I will give discourses and messages when I feel inclined to do so. But if I find that in my instructions are not obeyed, I will leave the place and you will feel displeased. Note this, that from November 15, 1952, I am not going out for mass darshan programs, but for my fiery life. So think over and tell me now if you can observe to the letter all that I have asked you to observe. But also, the question is, how can you give a guarantee for people who do such things through love? How can you stand surety for them? I say all this because when I want to work, dear souls, you all have no idea about it. I must have seclusion. Suppose if persons continue coming to me one by one, and I go on explaining to them, it would be a different thing, which is not possible in the fiery life. So again, I say, be prepared that If I feel what has been arranged is not right, I will immediately leave that place. I know as a rule, masters ought not to bar the expression of love. Yes, that is the rule. Thousands may come and go and express their love, but in this fiery life of mine, there is no other alternative. I feel it will be difficult to manage all these instructions at some places. It is natural, but that will spoil my work. Thus, what I wanted to say, I have said. After seriously listening to all this, the program heads assured Baba that they would certainly and wholeheartedly observe all the instructions given to them. Baba appeared very happy to hear this. He replied, "So I shall come, but I will not compromise my words at the cost of my work." Baba asked Ramju to read the discourse on Danyan, which he had given on 1 November. When Ramju finished a part of it, along with Baba's explanatory comments, Baba asked him to stop reading and stated, "Had I been in your place, I would have asked, if knowledge is where imagination is stopped, why this unnecessary headache of hearing these words? It is all true that if such sort of headache goes on increasing from ages to ages, a person either goes mad or becomes a danyani." The discourse reading was stopped, and Baba granted permission to all to visit the dome, his samadhi, on Mehrabad Hill. Baba stated that he had confined himself in it for a period of 5 months or so, during which time he was on tea and water only. He added, "The place is of great spiritual importance, and I have ordered my mandali that when I drop my body, it should be buried there." Once more, Baba bowed to the love of all who had come and stated, "Now the work is over, and those who want to leave may leave, even by tonight's trains." Baba stood up to go to his room. All watched him depart with heavy hearts, as most were to leave Mehrabad that night, and they were not sure when they would have such an opportunity to share Baba's intimate company again. The next morning, Monday, 10 November 1952, Baba came to Mehrabad at about 8 a.m. Several of those invited had been specially asked to stay on that morning. Baba gave several interviews, and when he finished, came to the hall. There he stated, "Now I will come to Mehrabad on 14 November, as I have some work at Pimplegon. Don wants to take x-rays of my leg to see whether the bones have been well joined or not. And I also have some work to do. Maraji, Nariman, Sadashiv, Patil, Pleader, Minu, Karas, and Papa Jesawala were allowed to leave for their homes." Baba asked Sule, Pandoba, Madhav Rao, and Murli to leave Mehrabad on the 14th at noon. After making certain alterations in the names of those to go with him on the tour, Baba stated, "Now, what I want to impress on you all is that from 15 November to the end of April, my fiery life will be for me internal fire and external humiliation, insults, disease, despair, attacks, along with mass gatherings and the performing of bhajan kirtans. So you must be prepared to share in my glory as well as in my fall. But the most important thing is that you must do what I say. You can participate in the happiness when thousands of people come and touch my feet and perform bhajans and kirtans. But in case of some place you find opposition and humiliation to me and to my work, be prepared to share in that too by obeying me. Those who are with me for a longer period, the Mandali, should be especially careful in abiding by my orders. On the departure of all for their respective places, Baba assigned different duties to the Mandali. Pendu was appointed manager of the journey, Sadashiv in charge of food, Aloba of luggage, Kumar, commander-in-chief, Chagan to cook Baba's food and as night watchman, Erich, Baba's personal attendant, Nanakir, Kaikobad's attendant, and footnote. Kaikobad could not see well at night, so Nanakir would stay near him. Ramchu, keeper of the diary, Maraji, Nariman, and Dahak, Baba's companions, and Vishnu, accountant. Gadikar, Madhusudan, and Todd from Pune were also called to accompany Baba. One of the works Baba did at Meherazad on 14 November before his departure was to sign the charter for Sufism reoriented as promised. On one occasion, while the charter was being drafted, Baba sent this telegram to Ivy Deuce: my Sufi charter must not be changed except for spelling or sentence structure. And footnote. Ironically, the telegraph clerk misspelled spelling. Baba's left leg had not yet completely healed after the car accident in America. A cast was made, but he did not use it. Baba's general health, too, was not good. He was feverish with a sore throat and often complained of an uncomfortable feeling in the abdomen. Sarosh drove him and Don to Ketkar Hospital on 11 November for another x-ray. Adi Jr. had come from Pune and went with Sarosh to Meherazad. The circular about his health was issued throughout India prior to his departure on the journey to plunge humanity into the ocean of fire. It is well known that a fracture of the lower third, as it is called, takes a long time to heal, and the break in Baba's leg has been no exception to this fact. Since his return to Meherazad, Pimpalganj, Ahmednagar, Baba has been periodically having x-rays taken of his leg to check on the progress of the callus formation and bone union. The last x-ray taken showed no union of the fibula bone in the area of the break. The doctor says that if this condition continues, a below knee plaster might be needed again. Therefore, during this active Fiery Life program, when time is available, Baba would return to Ahmednagar for further x-rays and consultations as to the progress of the bone union in his leg. Baba wants all to know that whether he comes to Pimplegon or not, his fiery life work will continue until the end of April. And next speaker, please.
Thank you, Eva.
Very welcome.
Rosalie, does Jonathan want to read? I heard his voice.
No one should try to contact him during this period, and particularly when he is in Pimplegown, with the idea of laying before him personal grievances or troubles whatsoever. The climax of the fiery life will be in April, and Baba must be free to carry on his work as planned. At noon on Friday, 14 November 1952, Meher Baba went from Meherazad to Mehrabad to begin the journey. Sarosh was driving him, and he stopped briefly at Sarosh Motors, where Gul Mai met him. 21 persons were to go with him, and Krishnanji was to join them at Sikori. Alaba, Baidul, Chagan, Dake, Erich, Gadakar, Gustaji, Jalbai, Kaikobad, Kumar, Madhusudan, Nana Kher, Nariman, Pankaraj, Pendu, Ramju, Sabat Kotwal, Sidhu, Tade, Vishnu, Yeshwant Rao, Adi Senior, Nilu, Padri, Kaka, Baria, and Don did not go. At Mehrabad, Baba looked ill, Ramju noted. About his fever, Baba informed the gathering. The doctors cannot at this stage say what the fever is due to. It might turn into anything. Anyway, let us start out the journey and try to carry out the programs already chalked out, unless there is a complete physical breakdown. In such a case, you fellows see that I am carried back to Pimplegown. If I drop the body, remember to bring me back to Mehrabad. Baba left Mehrabad in Sarosh's car with Baidul, Erich, and Jalbai. The other men preceded them in a state transport bus hired for the occasion. At sunset, they reached the quarry, which Baba visited for the first time in almost 30 years. Baba was heartily and devotedly received at the gate by Gadavri Mai and others of Upasni Maharaj's ashram. Gadavri Mai started to touch his feet, but Baba prevented her, as this was not permitted in the fiery free life. Baba's arti was performed, and he was taken around the Sikori ashram. At every spot he went to, Baba bowed his head. Baba was then led to Upasni Maharaj's samadhi, which he touched with his forehead. Baba pointed to himself and stated, Maharaj is here and not there. The Mandali too bowed at Maharaj's tomb. Baba was taken to a small building where formerly there had been a straw hut in which he and Maharaj had sat for hours together late into the night. There Baba disclosed, this is the place where one night Maharaj addressed me as the avatar. After refreshments, Baba and the group proceeded to Shirdi. Baba bowed his head on the marble tomb of Sai Baba, as did the Mandali. Then all visited the old mosque, which was Sai Baba's seat, and where he used to listen to the Quran for half an hour daily. Baba pointed out the brick on which Sai Baba used to rest his head. The brick had broken just before he dropped his body. Baba next drove to the Khandova temple, where Upasni Maharaj had remained confined for almost 3 years without food, according to Sai Baba's instructions, and where Baba had seen him first. He entered the temple and, mentioning to the Mandali about Maharaj's fasting without food or water, observed, "In those days, Sai Baba was eating a lot and still complaining that he was very hungry." After leaving Shirdi, Baba arrived at Babajan's tomb in Pune at around midnight. The shrine was closed, but it was specially open for him. Baba laid his head on the tomb, and then he, Erich and Gustaji, went to Bindra House to rest. The Mandali's bus arrived an hour later due to some mechanical trouble on the way. At Bindra House, they were told to pay their respects at Babajan's Samadhi and then to rest at Ganesh Kind, where Dadi Kerala had made arrangements. Thus, the day before embarking on his fiery free life, Baba fulfilled his intention of paying his respects to the shrines of the three perfect masters who played the most direct roles in his current advent. In the early morning after breakfast at Binda House, Baba said he was feeling cold and asked Gaimai if she had any warm coat. Gaimai rummaged through her cupboard and found 2 black sherwanis of Jal Kerala's. The long coats with a standing collar had been stitched recently for Jal, but he had never had a chance to wear them because of his sudden demise. Baba tried one on. "It fits perfectly," he remarked. "I will be taking Jal with me to Hamirpur and Andhra. After all, I miss him." And Baba wore the coats on his tour. Baba met the Mandali at Ganesh Kind and then traveled to Bombay in Nariman's car while Sarosh returned to Ahmednagar. The Mandali followed in the bus. As soon as Baba arrived in Bombay, he started contacting Mus with Baidul. By the afternoon of 15 November, he had contacted 4. He then went to Nariman's apartment, Ashiana, for lunch. During lunch, he commented, "Bombay at the moment has 10 or so good Mus. Umar Baba and Mungsaji Maharaj are the present-day spiritual charge men of Bombay."
Thank you, Jonathan. We'll pick up here next week.